The rest of this week is set to be awesome and filled with a bunch of awesome moves. We can see Netflix right now is booming to the upside in after hours after they just reported some pretty impressive earnings results. In this video, we're going to explain what's going on with Netflix, the market overall, and some solid plays for the rest of this week. Because I'm going to say it now, there's a lot of big moves coming. So stick with us to the end of today's video. We have some great plays and you're not going to want to miss them.
Yeah, definitely. And Mike, as far as Netflix goes, this was an insane move tonight, and they actually added a ton more subscribers than was expected. So Street Accounts was estimating an addition of 1.09 million subscribers, and they ended up with 2.41 million subscribers. That is a huge uptick over that estimate, Mike. That was awesome to see for Netflix. Their EPS came in almost $1 on the EPS over the estimate at 3.10 versus 2.13, and the revenue came in at 7.93 billion versus 7.837. But Mike, these numbers are awesome. The revenue beat, the EPS beat, those subscriber numbers beat in a large amount, and we're seeing the stock continue up here in after hours. I know a lot of times we see these volatile moves up and the stock sometimes starts falling back down right away. So at least for now, Netflix is up quite a bit, and it's starting to fill that big gap up on the daily chart that we talked about yesterday. You can actually see this blue line is up where it is in after hours right now. The daily candle will print tomorrow morning, but that is a huge gap, Mike. And I'm not saying we're going to fill the gap all the way up yet, but it's a very good start.
Exactly. So the main thing you need to know with Netflix is they brought in more revenue than what was expected. They brought in more profit than what was expected. They brought in more net subscribers than they expected. And they announced plans to limit some of the extreme sharing that is going on between Netflix accounts, which should bring them even more revenue for the future. So long story short, they had a pretty good earnings report. Now here's the thing. Tom, looking a little bit more at the stock, you mentioned that Netflix is currently in the process of filling a pretty big gap. Can you tell us more important levels that we should be looking at on Netflix for tomorrow and the rest of the week?
Yeah, 100%. So you guys can see that back in April here, when Netflix reported earnings a couple earnings ago, we had that big gap down and the stock fell pretty much from 330 all the way down to 250 within just one trading day right there. Now today we are up in after hours up to around 278 to 280, which is a pretty big level as well. Now to get some of these levels on Netflix, we have to go back a long ways because that was a big gap fill. So we're not able to really see too many big supports here. But one key support that I see coming up is going to be right around 288 to 290. So I think that's going to be a very big level to watch, even maybe 300. But you can see how back in March of 2020, we were kind of bouncing there right around 280. So watch that as a nice resistance if we continue up. We got pretty close to it here in after hours so far. And for support, Mike, we had a huge breakout here today. This is exactly what we needed with the earnings, and it's exactly what we talked about in last night's video. We got that big breakout up above 252. So use 252 as a solid support on the way back down if the stock does fall. But hopefully we continue up, Mike, and we can start to hold and hopefully stay up above some of these key levels here that we've been stuck in for the past few months.
Perfect. So it's nice to see this with Netflix earnings, but we have some more big earnings reports throughout the rest of the week, like Tesla, Snap, and a couple other ones. So what's on the schedule?
Yeah, definitely. Tesla, Snapchat, and many others. So tomorrow morning, we have Procter & Gamble in the morning. I think that's going to be the big one. A lot of people are watching. We also have ABT or Abbott. I know a lot of people have been looking at that ever since COVID hit with all the stuff that they used to do and everything like that. So that'll be pretty big. But the big one, like you said, Mike, tomorrow and after hours is going to be Tesla. I know a lot of people are going to watch that just like Netflix tonight. So keep your eyes out, guys. Watch Tesla. It had a crazy day today. Initially, it gapped up. Then we filled the gap back down and started just really consolidating down here around 220 and 218. So Tesla's going to be huge, Mike. It's extremely oversold right now in the short term, and it looks like it is right around a key support around 208 on that longer term chart. So watch out for it, guys. It's going to be a crazy report, and it's going to probably shake up the markets even more than Netflix did.
Exactly. So looking at the heat map and just the market overall going on right now, I like the environment that we're in. We're seeing most stocks in the green, most industries in the green, which is awesome to see. And at the same time, it's been pretty rare to see this over the past year. And then just looking at like the SPY's daily chart, we're bouncing off key support right around 360 and now even closer to like 365 and 370. It's awesome to see, and I like the setup overall. And we've just had a lot, and I mean a lot of selling pressure over like the past month or two, and like the market goes in these cycles where we see, times where there's just a ton of selling pressure and times where there's a bunch of like buying activity. And to me, it looks like we're at one of those cycles where we're starting to see the buyers kick back in a little bit, and it's just how the market goes. It's just cycles.
Yeah, and it looks amazing. These earnings are actually coming out and going fairly well. I know the banks have done well so far. It's nice to see Netflix posting good gains there. So maybe this earnings season is exactly what the market needs to come back up. I know the SPY on the yearly chart, Mike, is extremely oversold. It was down over 20% at one point, if it's actually still not. But we're on a pretty good uptrend here, especially at the end of the day, back to the upside. I know yesterday, Mike, we talked a lot about that key resistance at 368, and we got that very nice bounce up in after hours and in pre-market today. We had that really nice move, and then 368 actually acted as a really good support today. SPY double bottomed off 368, which was nice, and it's popping back up here in after hours with Netflix's earnings. So looking good so far, Mike. SPY is holding. We're seeing a lot of those bank stocks hold up around highs too. Even Apple and Microsoft started coming back up a lot. Apple really sold off, and they had some bad news with their iPhones in the middle of the day where they ended up falling down, but it was nice to see that recovery.
Gotcha. So out of like all of the setups in the market right now, one that's really catching my eye is Square. And I know I actually covered this stock in yesterday's video as well, but like when you look at this one on the daily or intraday, it's just looking strong. It's pretty oversold on the daily as well. Square has a long history of solid moves. It's a volatile stock. It's bouncing off key support from multiple years, and it's just in a good setup. It's oversold, has positive momentum, is bouncing off strong support, and it looks like buyers are coming back in. So it's been on my watch list lately, and it definitely still is close to the top.
Yeah, and that is some key support, Mike. I know we talked about this a lot yesterday, but that support goes all the way back to 2018. So definitely watch Square. It's at a big level. Hopefully some buyers start to come in, and it definitely looked like that was happening today. And talking about buyers coming in, we just saw a lot of buyers come in all across the board. And early on, I was really watching DraftKings. They popped up. They ended up falling back down a little bit, but just like what we talked about with the SPY, they ended up double bottoming at that 1330 support, and they held very strong, and they're looking pretty good here heading into tomorrow, especially with the SPY popping up. There is some key resistance here, really close to 1380 and then $14, but that will be a good area to watch tomorrow for a big breakout. I wouldn't even be surprised, Mike, with the SPY running up if a few stocks gapped up tomorrow morning, kind of like they did today. I know that they gapped up a lot and then fell back down, but hopefully tomorrow we get a better continuation.
Yeah, and check out this setup with Disney really quickly. So it's actually moving up in sympathy with Netflix. Sometimes this happens with these streaming companies. So for example, if everyone's seeing Netflix have a lot more subscribers join their service, then people think, all right, maybe Disney Plus is having something similar happen, and that's why we sometimes see moves. We see Disney and Netflix move together off of earnings and things like that. But Disney is on my watch list for a couple reasons. Check out the daily chart on this one, Tom. It's also doing a double bottom, just like a couple other stocks have been doing, like we talked about lately. Disney is currently double bottoming off that $90 support level, which is like the same low that it touched in July of this year. So that's awesome to see. On top of that, what I like about trading Disney stock specifically is that it offers a good mix of volatility and consistency. There are some stocks out in the market, like let's say like Coca-Cola or just, some slow moving stock where it's like it just doesn't move enough to trade in a good way. And then on the other hand, we have some stocks that are just way too crazy where it's just like hard to trade. Disney, in my opinion, offers that nice balance of volatility and consistency. Plus, when you have it at a key support level, and Tom, actually, what are we going to call this? Like a triple bottom, quadruple bottom? Look how many times it's bounced off this 90 support. You know, it's had a good setup.
Yeah, it's bounced off of it too many times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm counting. So that's insane there. I really hope it pops up, Mike. That is a long-term support, and I'm really happy with Disney popping up with Netflix. It's good to see a sympathy move there. Hopefully they report more subscriber additions whenever they report their earnings. But Mike, with Disney here, they're actually at a very big level at $100 even. That is a huge psychological level. I'm really hoping we can hold above this for the next couple weeks, and especially on this 5-minute chart going back over the past month, it's starting to really form well off that support. And I really like how it touched 90 very even and then started running up. A lot of buyers came in, and that was a very big jump back to the upside right off of that level. That just shows that there was a lot of big orders there. So it was really nice to see that the market bought that up there. So really like that move with Disney. And some stocks I think people are sleeping on right now, Mike, are some of the retailers. I know Walmart and Costco had amazing days today, along with Target. Target actually got upgraded by Jeffries today and had quite the pop. But Walmart is in a very interesting setup. They have very nice resistance here right around 135. And if we see a nice breakout up above that tomorrow, I think it could definitely make for a pretty good scalp on some calls. It might even be a pretty good swing trade for the next week or so if we continue to see the market move up the way we are. Like I said, that's a very big level. So watch the break.
Very interesting. So, Tom, I actually forgot to tell everyone about this in the beginning, but there was actually a pretty crazy options trade that caught my eye today, and it's with CCL of all stocks. So, CCL, for those of you who don't know, is at basically the lowest level it's been at in like the past 30 years. Yes, 30 years. So, that's crazy. This is Carnival Cruise Lines. And I saw, so right now, if we look at CCL stock, it's around $8 per share. I saw around $500,000 flow into the 9 strike call options that expire on April 21st of 2023. So these call options are a little bit out of the money, but it's like they're not too far out of the money, especially with that time range. It's basically $500,000 flowing into these call options. I thought it was very interesting given the level that CCL is at. You know, when you buy calls that have time like that and it's an opening position, it really looks like they're buying those calls.
Yeah, and for all my technical guys out there, this is a pretty good setup for an inverse head and shoulders, Mike. It's not perfect. There is a bit of like I would say inconsistency with the neckline around 660 here, but overall forming very well off support. It had a big gap down with earnings there a few weeks ago and starting to fill that gap back to the upside, and it looks very strong. Had a nice 11% move, and we're seeing some big player get into this. So keep it on the radar, guys. That's a big find, Mike, and it's a huge stock that's been running a lot the past few weeks, 11%. And also, like you said, really far or really low back to levels. I couldn't believe when I looked at this on the chart, Mike, back into the 90s we've been talking about, like 1992 almost even.
Exactly. Crazy stuff. Also, if you guys are looking to capitalize off of the market's recent volatility, check out the first link in the description and the comments down below. Our bot sniped the Square call options today. It alerted the Square 56 strike calls at $200 each. And by the end of the day, they were close to $278 each. That's just under a 40% pop, all within the same day. If you're looking for daily options alerts and swing trades and a custom community and custom bots you won't find anywhere else, definitely check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long. Tom posts some awesome bonus setups as well, just like this Boeing setup right here. It's definitely worth trying out at least for a month, especially if you're into short-term trading. On top of that, you can cancel at any time, and we have an automatic discount running right now. So if you sign up, you'll save $41 completely automatically. You know, today's play went from 200 to 278 just in a couple hours. So definitely check it out. It's pretty awesome. But back to today's video. Tom, I'm very excited for the market for the rest of the week. You know, we have a lot of stocks setting up in some good ways. Tom, do we have any other major events we should know about heading into the rest of the week?
Yeah, you know, with the SPY doing so well at the end of the day, I will say we do have some housing starts and building permits coming out tomorrow morning, and then existing home sales coming out on Thursday morning. So be on the lookout for that. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking for the market, more for the housing sector.
Sounds good. Well, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we need Apple, but both levels.
Yeah, so Apple had a crazy day today. They had some bad news and really dropped down. If they end up falling below the 143 support tomorrow, look for a nice drop down. That's a pretty big support there intraday. And if they end up popping up above 145.70, then go ahead and look at some calls. They did have a high of day there at 146.70, so you might be able to play that 1 point move.
Alrighty. And then with the next one, we have CCL to the upside.
Yeah, of course, up 11% today. Go ahead and make them break that high of day at 825, and they got pretty close to it in after hours.
Alrighty. And then we are watching Shopify also to the upside.
SHOP. This thing's been volatile lately too. Very nice past few days, but make them break out above $30 even. That's actually a huge level that I've had posted for a while.
Sounds good. So we're watching Shopify, CCL, and AAPL for potential day trades to the upside, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. And then with Apple, just keep that downside level in mind as well. But Tom, do you have any last minute words before going into the trading day tomorrow?
Yeah, it's going to be insane. Like we've talked about with those earnings coming up, it's going to be a crazy day. I'm really going to keep my eye on Tesla tomorrow, heading up into earnings. Maybe it'll get a bit of a pre-earnings run up. Who knows? I know Tesla can go all over the place. There's a lot of people talking about possibly Tesla doing a little bit worse because there's been lockdowns in China. Some people think they might do better because they've opened up a few of those factories. So we'll have to see exactly what happens, but it's going to be crazy. Let me know in the comments, guys, how you think Tesla's going to do. Do you think we'll end up breaking out of this little range here up above 228? I think there's definitely a possibility with a lot of these positive earnings going on, but I will say those China lockdowns do worry me a little bit.
Yep. And then we also want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Billy the Kid in the Stocked Up Discord. Thanks for being a great member of the chat. Tom and I really appreciate you, and definitely keep up that activity. It's awesome. Again, guys, if you want daily options alerts, check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. The next couple days will be filled with opportunity and great moves given the earnings we have this week. So definitely check it out. Besides that, don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and let's have an amazing week.